Hey everyone, hope you guys are having a fantastic New Year's and that your teams are training hard. I have something super special for you guys today. It is something I've been working on for the past 2 to 3 months, and it's something that you guys have asked for, and that is the Tumbling Progress Tracker. Okay, and it's taken so long because it started off as just a tracker. Okay, as you can see back here, that is going to be your most used section. If you guys have my posters, it is all 12 tiers compressed into this one area that you can mark off. But besides that, I thought about what are the things that I track on the side from athletes, and that is things like conditioning, motivation level, fitness testing, competency, motivation, and a bunch of other stuff. So what I did was I put it all together into one package that I need to use, and it turned out that this thing has 12 features that you guys can use. Now, you don't have to use all of them. It's there because you might have world level athletes that you need to track every little thing and make sure they're on top of their game. Or you could have kids who are in youth too, right? And you just need to track their conditioning and what skills they have. So it's very scalable. So before I go into everything, what I want to do is I want to jump into my computer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out the two main features with you so you guys can see how I use this tracker, and then we'll go from there. Okay? So see you soon. All right, guys, so here is the progress tracker. Here's the outside. So that's the front and that's the very back. I want to go over this feature, which is the back, which is what most of you are going to be using this for, which is to actually track, the skills of your athletes. As you can see, if you have my posters, everything is here. Everything that's on the poster is on here. But the benefit here is you can, write stuff, edit stuff. So if you've been using stickers and other methods, this is going to blow you away. So let me show you what I do. Let's take tier 2, for example. And let's take a look at the back walk over here. Let's say your kid or your athlete said, hey, coach, I'm ready to, check off my back walk for just to show you that I got it. Or if you see them doing it really well, say, hey, approach them, it's time to check it off. So you'll see 3 little dots. Basically what you want to do is the first 2 are just check. So, ask them to do a back walkover, and if it looks an 8 out of 10 on your judgment scale, you give it a check. Okay. The second one, if it looks, give them a correction or 2, see if they take it. If it's a 9 out of 10, boom. And then finally, if they do a really good one the way that you expect them to do it, you initial your initials there. And as soon as you do that, you write down the date. So let's say this happened on Jan 1st, 2017. Somebody got their, 2017, if I can write, there we go. They got their back walkover. And what that does is it gives you an idea of when they actually achieved the skills. Because sometimes they'll nail it, and then, a week or 2 later, or even a month later, something will be off. It won't be as good, or they might even lose it fully. And you say, hey, look, I know on Jan 1st you got it, right? And, let's see what we can do. Maybe you need to come in for some private lessons. Maybe you need some extra tumbling time. You can discuss this with them and their parents. Everyone's on the same page, which makes it really, really valuable. The other thing I could say is if there's only 2 check marks, this should be enough to compete on. That's how it works, okay? But if they have an entire tier of just like 2 check marks, right? Obviously they can't move on, right? You want to make sure they can show it to you so that you can make it competition ready. The other thing is they don't have to show it to you on the same day, right? Especially if they're tired or if they've been working really hard for the practice. So 1 week they got to here, but the third one isn't looking that good. No problem. At the end of next class, ask them to show you, and if it looks good the way you want to, you can always sign it off. Right? And the good thing is if there's a lot of these, right? If you have multiple coaches and if you have a choreographer, they can look at this and say, okay, if this entire section, okay, is all signed off and they're all good, but they're missing these things, right? Maybe there's 1 check mark here or there's no check mark here. They know in an instant snapshot what they can do for your routine, and they don't have to ask. Especially if you have like 20 kids in a team, you don't want to be wondering and asking, even though a lot of you coaches, you know your athletes well. But this will make choreography really, really easy. And you can write things down if you want to. The font is going to be light enough to write on, but dark enough for you to see, as you can see here. So if you want to edit and for a walkover cartwheel, you want to add like a back roll, or you want to add a back walkover to this. Okay, you can definitely do that there. Okay, it's very, very adjustable. You can write on it as much as you want, and of course it comes with a QR code. So if you need to train your junior coaches and other coaches on how to use this feature, you can. Again, this is just one feature. There's 12 features in total, and what I'm going to do is go over the second feature that I think you guys are going to really, really defined value. All right, so the second feature that I wanted to go over was the athlete, fit test and benchmark. Okay, this is really, really important because if their tumbling isn't heading in the direction you want it to, this can be a really key indicator of what's happening. So the first thing you want to do as soon as you get these progress sheets is you want to set a baseline for your athletes and see where they're at. So over on top here, you'll see it says month, and then here's a date. It's written in, again, very light font, so you can write over it. So let's say, I'm going to zoom it out so it looks more realistic. So let's say on, Jan 1st, I like Jan 1st. I'm going to use that. Again, my pen is really thick on the computer. It's much better when you're actually using a real pen. But on Jan 1st, you do a test. Again, if you're in the US, you use inches, so circle that. If you're in Europe, you can use centimeters. But, let's say they get a vertical jump of, 15 inches, which isn't great, but let's keep it that way. The reps of hollow push-ups, let's go 20. They do a handstand for 1 minute, 4.5 seconds. Okay. Sprints, I use a rod floor, so I know it's going to be 84 feet. Okay. Let's say it took them 6 seconds to do that, or whatever it takes. Suicides, let's use 7 mats. It took them 1 minute and 30 seconds. Long jump, inches or centimeters, you pick one. I'm going to pick centimeters, and let's say they got a long jump of 196 centimeters. And stationary bike. Now, again, these are just what I like to use for my benchmarks to see where an athlete is at. If you want to add more, depending on your gym, you can. So, for example, if you have the benefit of having lots of weights in your gym, and you want to test their deadlift, you can just put that there. Okay, and then you can put the reps or whatever it is that you want. So this will give you a snapshot of what happened in January, where they're at. So the cool thing is, let's say by the end of February or by March, their tumbling isn't improving, okay, or it just isn't going the way you want it to go. Test them. So let's say, hey, let's do another test. Okay, let's go Feb 28. Okay, we're gonna do another test. Test the vertical jump. Did it improve? If it was 16, they're headed in the right direction. If the push-ups drop, right, their handstand, they can't hold it for more than, 1, or let's say it's under a minute, right? So 30 seconds, okay? Their sprints are taking too long. Now that their conditioning level has dropped. So that's a real key indicator that their tumbling is gonna not improve the way you want it to. On the flip side, if it keeps improving across the board, and their tumbling is still having a little bit of difficulty, it's easy to tell, and you can instantly know that it's probably their technique, and you can probably see it as well. But it's really good for everyone to be on the same page, and even explaining it to parents, because a lot of times, parents will see a back handspring just as a back handspring, but you and I both know there's different levels to it. So if a back handspring's slow and it's not being connected and they're landing mushy, you can show the parents and be like, look, I tested them again today, a month or two later, and everything has dropped. So they're not conditioning at home like I asked them to, or we're going to have to spend the tumbling time in class, and we're going to have to spend that on conditioning instead of actually tumbling until they pass their baseline levels, or baseline of other athletes. So if you have an athlete that's a really strong tumbler, test them, and then get your athletes to compare their stats with them, so everyone's on the same page. So this is one of the most vital tools that you'll probably have besides the actual tracking. So what do you guys think? Pretty cool, huh? So just like how I made the video for those 2 features, I have a video for all the other 10 features, so that as soon as you purchase your sets, you get access to them. You can go over them with your staff on one day, just go over it all, or you can just send them all links, right? They're at home, say, hey, before you come into work today, just make sure you look at these quick videos, and they'll be trained, so you don't have to do all the training. And that way you guys can all stay on the same page. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the other 10 features, right? Those 2 are there. Well, let me go over them really, really quickly. I'm going to list them off, and then details will come later. In the front, again, this is one of the final prototypes, so the ink is a little different. It's not printed in full quality, so I can kind of check and take a look at it, but yours will be, like I said, you saw on the computer, it's going to be much better. But in the front, we have athletes' goal section. They can put down their goals. We have a place for coaches to put down their vision for the athletes, so what you'd want the athletes to get, and you can kind of match the goals with the coach's vision. I'll explain how that works. You have a complete weekly calendar from Monday to Friday for AM and PM. You can have a quick snapshot of your athlete's schedule. Okay, are they doing other sports? Do they have soccer on Thursday? Are they doing something Wednesday? Something consistent. If you have private lessons, if they need private lessons, say, hey, every Saturday you can start coming in. You can put that down. Again, I'll show you how that works. This is one of my favorite parts is the tumbling achievements. They have 10 different achievements. If you guys use a sticker system or like a point system, this will just change the game for you, okay? If any of you played video games or you know anything about the video game generation, it's not about stickers, it's about achievements. So I'll show you how that works and how they can unlock their achievements. At the bottom, we have a missed practices tracker. So you can actually write down in front, so because this is the front, you can see how many missed practices they have instead of making. I went away from doing attendance every week. It's tedious. I just write down when they miss practices. If it becomes more than 3 or more than 6, there's 9 spaces. If they're missing 9 practices in a season, there's a problem, right? So you can address that with the parent. So that's one of the other things. Inside, we have a mental block elimination tool. This is the exact method I use to help kids get over mental blocks. If you read my mental block article, this will complement that really, really well. Then we have a coaches section for notes. So if there's 2 or 3 coaches coaching one athlete, which happens, you can put down your name. It gives you a specific place. Coach's name, you can say, hey, her handsprings were really slow today, or she did really well on her jump. She needs to work on a round off. So when another coach is coaching her on a day you're not there, she can look at it and be like, oh, okay, I see that Coach Sally said, little Susie needs to work her handsprings more. Okay, I'm going to go from there so that you guys are all on the same page. Finally, we have a working on section. This, you'll have to see the video, but this is a great way to track the passes that they're working on currently, and it gives you space for any specialty passes. So if you've given them a specialty pass for a routine that's going to happen in about 2 months, great way to put it down and all the drills that you're going to need for them to master that, okay? Moving quickly on here, we have the conditioning tracking. If you have my posters, you know that there's a beginner, experience, advanced, and elite, and you can actually track how fast they get through the entire program, top to bottom. So again, if you want to track their conditioning, this is huge. The fit test we already went over. There's an exercise competency test. What that means is before you even let them do conditioning, you have to make sure that they can actually do the exercises, right? It's one thing to tell an athlete to do a squat, but if they're doing, half squats or quarter squats, they're not actually doing anything, it's not going to make a difference. So here you can actually track and see, is the quality of their exercises holding up? And again, it takes really quick to do this test, and you can track them for over 3 months and make sure the quality is there with the quantity. This is, again, super key. And finally, at the end, we have the tumbling speed and consistency section. If you ever wanted to make a routine and you've been frustrated with an athlete that tumbles super fast versus an athlete tumbles super slow, right? One of the things you should never do is never tell a speedy tumbler to slow down their tumbling to match the slower one, right? It should always be the slower one working hard at picking up their pace. So if there's a mismatch happening, this is an easy way to tell. You can just look at their charts and see, okay, this person's, for this pass, is tumbling in 3 seconds. She makes it over there, where she's taking 4.5. Is there anybody else in the team that can do it in 3 seconds? Time them and see. And all that data will be there for you. So it makes making routines easier. It helps kids, progress a lot faster. It gets them motivated. And it gets the parents on board because they can see all the data. So this is not a report card. It's not meant to go home, because report cards, when you send them home, what happens? It ends up in the garbage, right? So all that work you did filling it out, it's all gone, right? So this you keep in the gym, okay? Until the new season, or when you fill out a new one, or when they're on a different team and they do a whole new level. But this is meant to last, okay? So again, if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section below. These come in 4 packs. There's a 50 pack, 100 pack, 150, and 200 pack. 250 pack, depending on the size of your team. There's also a 500 available. So there's a link down below. Hope you guys grab them. Hope you guys enjoy using them. I know they're going to change the game for you, save you a lot of time. I know they did for me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.